You already see that where we're going with this today. Those of you that are already here, go ahead and type something amazing in the chat box for us. Type something amazing about yourself in the chat box for us. Something amazing. Yes, I'm asking you to brag about yourself.
Right. Okay.
All right, Angel, I like that. You said you're persistent, with great quality to have as an entrepreneur.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Please type something in the chat box that's great about you. Brag on yourself. Please type something.
I'm feeling a little underdressed today, Steve.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that. I'm a bit overdressed, but today was a deal day, so we had
LOL.
a lot of deals. Oh, children's book author. Yes, 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 yes. Sometimes you got to give yourself love in because this is what it's really important about life. We have to get that self love. Okay, that self love. What else do we have here? What else do we have? Anybody else in the class want to tell us something great about yourself? Maybe you have a great smile that nobody sees too often, because the world is so serious. So please go ahead. Let me know. Let me know. Okay. All right. We're about 3 minutes in. I think we're going to go ahead and get started. As you all can see, today we're going to go through a few slides over some foundational skills of business, but I actually would term it more to be, what do you know about structure of businesses? And so I know how to get folks on the dance floor. You know it on, give us a song. Give us a song. What song would you use to get all of us business people on the dance floor? James Brown. I love it. Go ahead, Angel. What do you have?
I don't know. I was gonna say, I don't know. I don't know.
Come on,
Pass.
No,
give
go
us something,
ahead.
Angel.
Go with what you. I know you had something.
Juveniles, back that thing up.
Oh, yes. Yes. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Yes, yes,
You
yes.
know, I was 15, 16 when that came out. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. They were giving people all the love in the Dirty South, creating the new type of music to most people. So that's a lot of the fun of the game. Before I go into the slides, I just want to ask each one of you, even if you're a trainer, what do you think is the most advantageous type of business structure? What do you think is the most advantageous type of business structure? Is it a corporation, a specific type of corporation? Is it a DBA? Is it maybe a LLC corporation? What do you think is the, that's right, for liability protection. And thank you, Ms. V. Amazing wife, 6 babies, 6 babies. Wow. Wow, that's a lot of babies. That's great. What do you think is a great business structure? And we'll let you all look through that. Yes, Angel.
I feel like there's not going to be a right answer, because I could say the nonprofit world, right? If you operate in the high nonprofit world or realm, and you have a $5 to $10 million operating budget and grants and contracts, the way your business model, the way you're set up, could be almost like a Fortune 500 company, only you're not necessarily making a profit, but trying to meet your deliverables, but through your scope of work. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
No, absolutely right. In fact, the answer that we'll discover as we're going along will be what you all think it is. And if you think right now about the business structure that you perhaps have for yourself or what you aspire to, then that's something that we should touch on here in the next couple of slides. Okay, so let's go ahead and dig into this a little bit here. What is a business? And that is really the crux of the question when we meet entrepreneurs. If you're a trainer, then you're going to go out and train people. Some of them are already entrepreneurs, but they might not understand what is a business. So if I were to just ask you all, what is a business? Now you can see this definition, this textbook definition. I don't like reading what you can read yourself. But what do you think makes a business at its simplest form? And if you all don't mind, go ahead and open up your mic and let me know. Open up your mic, raise your hand. Let's go ahead and call on some people. Tell me at the basic, if you were to be like Einstein and give the most simple definition of a business, what a business is, what would that be?
A business to me is someone or a company or an entity that sells something or provides something, a service, and is making some type of profit or revenue from it.
So what happens if you don't make money? Can you still call yourself a business?
No, it's called a hobby.
Oh, so in the chat real quick, I want you to type, I agree or I disagree with Andrew's statement. If you don't make money, is it a hobby or is it a business? Andrew says it's a hobby.
Corporation or something that's like a nonprofit, but I mean, in that sense, it wouldn't really be so much a business as it would be like a nonprofit or like a community service organization.
I absolutely love the engagement. Andrew, I appreciate you so much for coming in with that statement, because it's so, it's like you woke up this morning ready to start a fight. I love it. I love it. The people in the audience are giving us all type of feedback here. Angel said it depends. Edith says tell that to Mr. Donald Trump, whoever that person is. Apollonia says disagree. And it's so interesting when you think about it. If a business makes profit, or if a person or an entity makes profit, they could be called a business. But if they don't make profit, could they be called a business? Could they fall under the umbrella of a business? That is a very interesting concept. I want you all to hold on to that for a moment. Ray, please go ahead, Ray.
I didn't want to spoil it just in case you had something at the end. I'm just so known for just spoiling things. So maybe I should just exercise some patience right now and let you do your thing, please.
No, Ray, look, I want input in real time. This is what's so great about this platform, is that we can get this real time conversation going, because this is the best type of learning. So Ray, what would you say in this situation?
In this situation, I'd agree that if we're looking through the eyes of the IRS, I think, yes, dry ice, Andrew is right. If over the 2-year period, you're constantly losing money and you're reporting the loss, the IRS may question if you're a business or not. And they might designate you as, not being a business and, it being a hobby. So, but making a profit, there's two things. It could be a loss, it could be a profit, or you could break even. So I just wanted to make that distinction.
All right, this is a fire topic. I didn't even know asking this question could bring it out. Apollonia, what do you have?
Well, the reason I stated disagree, because I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a business, and I don't make a lot of money. Like, a lot of times I'm working for free. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of net operating loss during tax season. So yes. You definitely cannot make money and be a business. So I was just looking at it as that aspect, as like an entrepreneur. We work for free all the time. So
I want to step off of what Apollonia said here. And Andrew, I got to tell you, Andrew, what a brilliant way to cause an engagement in a class full of brilliant people. I want you all to consider religious entities. Are religious entities corporations? Yes or no? Please type it in the chat box. Are religious entities considered to be corporations? Yes or no? Angel, what do you have?
I think, well, like, I believe churches are nonprofits. They file under a certain tax code. It was a 501c something.
501c3. Yes, Ray put it here in the chat.
Okay.
And it's true. It's true, Angel. That is right. They, as long as they can file taxes, but churches are set up, or not churches. I choose to use religious institutions so I can include mosque, temples, and things of that nature, and then be very inclusive to other presenting belief systems. But if they are a religious entity in the United States, they are set up as a corporation. What is the word that comes in front of corporation for them? If they've done their filings, it's called nonprofit. But just because you're a nonprofit or a not-for-profit, does that mean that you cannot create an income? Yes or no? Please type yes or no into the chat. Just because you are a for-profit or a not-for-profit, does that mean that you do not generate revenue? Ray is correct that the answer is yes and no. There is a possibility that a nonprofit can, in some instances, generate a revenue, and there's some instances where they do not, and it is controlled by what the IRS says is allowable. And so, an accountant is an excellent person to have as your friend in your business practice. So, I think we have a pretty broad view here of most nonprofits get money from investments and grants. Now, believe it or not, Andrew has a point, but like with all things, Andrew, there is another factor involved. Nonprofits in their first 5 years attain most of their funding through private donations because grants are very hard to come by. Okay, so that being said, what is a business? A business can be anything at all that attempts to provide a service or product to some person or some institution. Okay, so it's anything. Can a person that is a drug dealer be considered a business owner? Yes or no? Absolutely. They have a product, they have clientele, the clients pay for the product, they have accounts receivables and accounts payables. Am I wrong? Right?
I say you're absolutely right. I say you're absolutely right, but also in the sense that if you're, please forgive me, if you're selling whatever, right? It could be, if you manufacture your drugs, you can actually deduct the baking soda, whatever you're using to make the drugs on taxes. Even though you might be doing something illegal, the IRS still wants their money.
That's right.
That's right. And a lot of accountants use something called absorption costing to bypass the illegal stuff.
Absolutely. So right off the Pyrex. Thank you, Ian. Boy, I enjoy you all being in class so much. A business has a purpose, okay? So if you really consider a business, one of the things that I want you all to think of is, does this business that you want to offer or do offer, does it offer value through the products and services rendered to the customers? And then how much are they willing to pay for it? In the United States or in the Western system, there's this idea of capitalism. So let's talk about that for just a moment. I believe we have some business owners in the room. Who would like for me to pick on their business for just a moment? Who would like to volunteer for me to pick on their business? Just raise your hand. Oh, Satoshi, great. Thank you so much, Satoshi. So Satoshi has a brilliant business. He's a brilliant designer, has several product brands coming out in the clothing line. Can't wait to see it. In fact, I can't wait to buy some of Satoshi's stuff, okay? I don't oftentimes wear anything except the same clothes every day, but I will buy some of Satoshi's just for the hell of it. Now, here's the thing. Let's say Satoshi puts one of his shirts in the market and he offers his shirt for $10. And people say, oh, wow, $10, only $10? And he starts to have tons of orders for his shirt, tons of orders. In fact, he has so many orders in a single day, he's having a hard time keeping up. And now he's receiving 1,000 orders a day for his first print edition shirt. Question, please answer in the chat. Do you think that he's charging too little with that type of demand? Yes or no?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. Do you believe that with that type of demand, 1,000 shirts a day for one graphic tee, do you believe he's charging too much or too little, excuse me, at $10? Should he increase his price? Some people are saying, yes, that's too little. It depends on what the shipping cost is. It depends, says Andrew. You're right. It does depend. And I'm glad some of you said that. What might it depend on is the question. Supply and demand. Yes, Ray. And so let's take a look at it. Let's say I tell you all that he may make more selling at a low price point. Even without the demand, shirts are normally sold at $25 and up. So let me just say that let's assume that Satoshi is making all of his shirts in-house. He has a screen press. He's making all of his shirts in-house, the anime shirts. And let's say that those shirts that he's making cost him $4.50 to make. $4.50 to make. He bought the actual t-shirt at bulk for $2, the ink and everything that the time, $4.50 to make. So that means that he's making $5.50 in profit per shirt he sells. And people are still willing to pay $10 for it. So here's the thing that I'm getting you all to do, because I can see the juice is flowing in your head and the gears are turning. The cost of operating his business is basically in his home, he's operating his business. The cost of per shirt is $4.50. His net profit is $5.50 per shirt at $10. But many of you think, well, if he's getting 1,000 a day, if he charges more, maybe they'll pay more. But is that a faulty assumption? His profit margin is already $5.50. How do you determine what's enough to charge? Well, the answer to that question is that you should look at how much do you need to continue to move your business? How much do you need for future security? Apollonia, you said you try to at least triple your investment. Okay? So Apollonia, you just told us all that you're also a little struggling in terms of creating that profit, I believe. And I love the energy coming from this question. Now, if the profit margin is already $5.50, what should Satoshi do at this point? Should he increase the price? Should he keep selling at price? Or should he hire people to help him produce more shirts to sell? And when you say slowly grow, Angel, are you talking about in personnel?
Yes, and all of yes.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Increase the price, create a higher priced item. Okay, Andrew, I see you. Increase the price. So all of these things that I'm talking to you is basically how businesses work, right? They have to decide, what are we going to sell? And I believe we had Michelle in one of our prior classes, and she says, I just don't know what to sell. So then we had this problem of, well, if I know what to sell, well, how much do I charge for it? Let's take a look at how companies work, okay? I love that, Satoshi. Satoshi's putting in the chat box here. Theoretically, Satoshi looks like he doesn't have much options. I can see him make exclusive limited products with higher prices. Either says he could say the design is sold out, relaunch after hiring personnel, then back out at a higher price. Lots of variables. We have a hand raised here. Give me one moment. If you raise your hand, please raise your hand again for me so I can see. Okay, I missed who raised their hand. But if you raise your hand, would you please open your mic for me?
That was me. That was me.
Okay, Ray, please, go ahead.
I did it by accident. My bad.
Okay. So this is the life cycle of a small business. Okay, we've talked about a lot of things, but the life cycle of that small business, excuse me, that slide went ahead. First thing, we're starting off in the early stage. How are we going to get customers? How are we going to establish the firm? Where are we going to find the money from? You talk to any small business owner, that's the first thing they'll say. How are we going to make money? How are we going to get clients? Right? Some of you might have launched a pilot program and you went out in the streets, because I know there's a business owner that's on the platform right now, and their family is trying to sell baby clothing, okay, with cute little labels on the front and the back. Brilliant idea. They're pushing that out right now. And so one of the things about that type of thing is that you may create an amazing product, but you don't know who will buy it. Okay? Then you have this breakthrough stage after you've had the sweat, the tears, the blood. Nobody believed in you. Maybe the relationship you were in broke up. Maybe people have thrown you away and said you'll never be anything. And all of a sudden, you wake up one day after all your labor, your 14, 16, 18-hour days, and you just kind of emerge as this amazing person that says, oh my gosh, I got through break even. And I can see black. That means being in the black on the accounting ledger, being in the profit. And then there's the maturity stage. Before I even get to the maturity stage, I want to ask each one of you to be quite clear and honest with me right now. If you were to put yourself on this life cycle, this business life cycle, where would you be? Would you be in the birth, breakthrough, or maturity stage? I see some births, very good, births. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate those comments. If you are a trainer in the room right now and you happen to be to this part, this is a good time to stop and segue and really ask for participation about people doing a kind of a self-reflection, because that self-reflection, when they actually see the slide, they can kind of position themselves and see where they are. And that's really important. It's always important to see where you stand, because that way you can know where you're growing. Okay. So how many of you all believe you'll be in the breakthrough stage in 2022? How many of you believe you'll be in the breakthrough stage in 2022? Yes, Apollonia.
Oh, I was just saying I believe that I'll be in the breakthrough stage.
Say it one more time for the people in the back. One more time, Apollonia. Say it for the people in the back.
Oh, I'll be in the breakthrough stage in 2022.
One more
Definitely.
time. One more time.
We going to the breakthrough stage in 2022.
All right. All right. Now, if you have the same energy as Apollonia and you believe that you can do it, that's a good start. And that's why you're here. You're here because we want to give you the tools to help you get to that breakthrough stage. And then maybe you are a catalytic grower. That means that you are so abundantly growing that you get to the maturity stage in 2022 as well. But you know what? I'm not trying to set anybody up for failure through having too high expectations, but you see what you'd have to get. You'd have to cope with your growth and then take off. And every single one of you has the ability to do that. What is the one thing that holds us back from our progress in life? What is the one thing that holds us back? It's not having belief in ourselves. The entrepreneur, procrastination can do that. Yes, procrastination. Procrastination is the derivative of a lack of self-belief. Okay? Procrastination is the stair that you climb to get to a disbelief in one's own ability. But I tell you that if you take the time right now and dig into self-reflection and learn to love yourself, that is a great foundation for overcoming disbelief. We've had people in our lives that told us what could not be done. We've had people that said, there's no way that you can do it. Look at where you come from. There's nothing that you can do. You've been in the system. You've been locked up. You've been misaligned. There's nothing that you can do. There's been people that have told you somewhere along the way that you're just not the right look. You're not the right sex. You're not the right height. You're not the right age. And sometimes we allow those things to get us down. Raise your hand if you've ever had that type of challenge. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. When we have those types of challenges, it's good for us to sit here and talk about what can be, but we have to sit in a place of validation with each other as well. Without validation, you can have the most successful product in the world and still believe you're a failure. You are not what people tell you that they think you are. You are not somebody else's perception. When you woke up this morning, you decided to work on whose business? Your business. When this class opened up, you decided to come to this class to help your business. Is anybody else sitting in this class on your behalf? Yes or no?
Hey, Steve.
Yes, sir.
I think Andrea has her hand raised.
Oh, is it? Oh, I didn't know if this was from the previous here. Andrea, please. Andrea, can you hear me? Okay, she might have dropped off there. But Andrea, if you want to talk, please raise your hand. This is an open, free forum. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So when we engage ourselves in this process, we have to know that we have to encourage one another, because this can be a lonely journey, especially when there's people that don't believe in you, and then you having self-doubt about yourself. Okay? How many of you have encountered self-doubt in the process of building your business? Thank you, Satoshi. Thank you for that. Thank you, Apollonia. Thank you. It affects us all. Us all. Okay? It affects us all. Now, when I think about a business, a lot of times people exclude one big portion. So we just had Black Friday, okay? We had businesses trying to sell to the consumer. But every day, there's businesses trying to engage and develop relationships with businesses. The question for you is, do you want to engage with your product or service to the consumer or to another business? And let's talk about some quick advantages and disadvantages here. What would you think is an advantage of doing straight business to consumer? You can raise your hand, and if you want to talk, you can talk to me. Yes, please.
So that's me. I would say if you were going from business to business, sometimes it's hard to get to the decision maker.
And who's the decision maker, Ray? Just in case people might not know, who might be a decision maker in a business corporation?
It depends on the product or service. If you're a recruiter, you're trying to get to that HR director. If you're trying to sell a SaaS, software as a service, you're trying to get to the IT person, the head of IT. So it just depends.
Okay. And what's the other side for the business to consumer in your mind, right? What's the advantage of going business to consumer?
Oh, yeah, I mean, there's no gatekeeper. It's just one person. Unless it's a partnership, right? Marriage or partnership, then a big decision has to be made by two people. They have to agree. Yeah, that's what I think of when I hear B2C.
Okay. And Angel, what did you have in mind?
I agree with what Ray said.
Okay, so let's talk about a business to business, because some of you all still might not see how your business to business model could be effective. Let's look at Ford. Okay, the Ford Motor Company. They have some exciting things that they've mentioned that are coming out in the EV market. Okay, that's electric vehicle market. Okay. Do you think that Ford offers an opportunity for a small business owner to work with them? Yes or no? Ford sells to consumers, right? But does Ford really sell to consumers, or do they sell to businesses? Both. Yes, that's right. That's right. So when you go to a dealership, the dealership is owned by somebody. There's some backdoor stuff that happens in order for them to have a Ford dealership, sort of like a franchise, but it's not so much a franchise relationship. But the relationship of getting the car to you, that's one area of the business. But if we back it up, how many parts do you think make up a Ford F-150 truck? How many parts? Hundreds? Thousands? Millions? How many parts? A lot. Thank you, Angel. A lot. Each one of those parts come from a business. So if Ford comes and says, you know what, we aren't able to produce our F-150 anymore because one of our vendors no longer makes a vital part we need, is that going to be damaging to the F-150 business? Absolutely. Absolutely it is. Why? Because no more F-150s can move until those parts are accounted for. Okay? So in your business, please type if you're going to be a a business to consumer or a business to business seller. Please type in the chat if you're planning to be a BTC, a B2C, or a B2B. And Apollonia wrote here, this reminds me of the fact that McDonald's business is in real estate and not hamburgers or restaurant industry. Very true. McDonald's owns more real estate than almost any other corporation in the United States. So Apollonia, you said you're going to sell to both. Andrea said you're going to sell to business to consumer. Angel, what do you have for us?
From my understanding, or from what I've been exposed to, I believe McDonald's owns the land that they franchise their locations on, right? Or am I incorrect in that assumption?
I believe you are correct. I believe you are correct. It's part of the franchise deal. Apollonia, yes.
Yes, I said both because my plan is to like develop. I sell blenders as well as children's books. So right now I'm focused on my Blendar Babes brand, and so I'm trying to sell it. Well, I am selling to consumers now, and I'm trying to get vendorization through like the city of San Francisco, to become a vendor and sell to like businesses within the departments within the city and county of San Francisco. So I would like to do both.
Can you tell me, did you say blender?
Yes, my blender is called the Blendar. You don't want to go too far without your Blendar.
And what does a blendar do?
It's a portable USB rechargeable blender. You can charge it like while you're at the gym. You can charge it on the elliptical. You can charge it on your laptop. You can charge it in your on your desktop computer, in your car, wherever you are. You don't want to go too far without your blender.
I love your pitch. I appreciate your pitch. Your pitch was ridiculously good. Okay. I still don't know. Is this a blendar for food?
Yes. You can make smoothies, snacks, organic baby food, pancakes, anything in the blender.
And did you create the blendar?
I have it exported from China. They're made in China, and I get them exported to the United States.
So you're acting as a wholesaler or a seller within the chain?
A seller within the chain.
Okay, would you drop the link there? I've had 2 people request the link. I have Satoshi saying he wants you to let him know, do you need an illustrator for your children's book? Apollonia, you're just winning. We have Ray with the raised hand. Go ahead, Ray.
No, I love how Apollonia inserted that, because when folks think of entrepreneur, they think of, someone designing a product all the way to market, right? And then there's something called private label rights, and I don't know if that was something that you were gonna talk about, Steve, but you can outsource the manufacturing for something. They can design it, and then you can put your stamp on it, because you're responsible for the marketing, for the promotion, and bringing the product to market.
When you have an established business already and you want to insert something into that business, or if you're a startup and you're negotiating contracts with a vendor, you can white label their product, which means they create it for you, put your logo or brand on it, and now it's part of your business entity. Okay, so I'm going to need Apollonia to drop the link for the audience, because the audience is on fire right now. We have some networking happening right now in class. We have Andrea and Satoshi going back and forth. I love it, love it, love it. Let's talk about the different companies you can create as we begin to wrap up here. Okay, the different companies you can create. Now, I asked this early on, which one do you think is the best? The sole proprietorship is something that most people are familiar with, because in any county or city that you live within the U.S., it can get you between $10 to $35. You can go to a county clerk and get a doing business as a DBA and become a sole proprietor under an assumed name. Now, somebody said, wait a second, why can't I just be Marky Mark? Why can't I be Marky Mark and just sell my stuff? Well, you could be Marky Mark and sell your stuff, but Marky Mark would have to open up a personal business, a personal account. Marky Mark would have to file taxes under their own social security number. And you really wouldn't be going to a bank like a Wells Fargo, a Chase, a JP Morgan Chase or anything, Capital One, and asking them for a business account, because it's really not a business account because you're just using your own social. So in order for you to get that DBA or to get that business account, doing business as, is what you would need to get an EIN, employee identification number, from the IRS. Okay. So that being said, it's very important for you to understand why you would need to go get a DBA so that you can get an EIN from the IRS and open a business bank account. Opening a business bank account would allow for you to also establish some business credit under the EIN that you got from the IRS because you opened the DBA. I'm going to pause for a second. That's a lot of words. Is anyone confused? Any questions? You can raise your hand.
Can you repeat what you just said about the IRS?
Yes. So once you have a DBA, a doing business as, that you can get from your local county clerk in the United States, you can go get your DBA, doing business as. So if your name was Marky Mark, you could go get a DBA as Marky Mark, DBA, doing business as Marky Mark Eatery. Then you take that DBA, apply for a EIN from the IRS. An EIN is a number similar to a social security number that you can use to open a business bank account. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
I think you have a follow-up question, don't you?
I kind of, I thought you said something else after the business bank account.
Yes, the business bank account will allow for you then to get business credit.
Got you. So that's the point I'm at right now. I have a business bank account with Bank of America. How long do I have to have the account in order to qualify or accumulate business credit?
The account itself does not give you business credit, okay? It may give you credit with the banking or financial institution, but it does not give you business credit alone, okay? Yes, Ray, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna tack on to what you just said. So there's a lot of numbers and agencies that are responsible for like credit reporting. Some are more specific to businesses. One of them is Dun & Bradstreet. So you want to get a Dun & Bradstreet number, and Dun & Bradstreet, when you contact them, they'll try to upsell you on their products, but you can tell them, no, I'm cool. I'm kind of just starting out. I'm kind of building up my budget. So I'll do my own reporting. And they have what's called net 30 companies. And these are companies you can use for your business. But you have to pay whatever you get on credit, you want to pay back in 30 days. And that kind of shows a track record and consistency. Perfect, Steve. Yep, Dun & Bradstreet. And so there's also a Paydex score. You want to get your Paydex score up to 80. And how you do that is any bill that you have, your cell phone bill, your insurance that you might pay for your business, anything that's associated with your business, you can contact that vendor and ask them, are they a net 30 company? And if they say yes, then they'll do all the reporting for you. But you have to be in contact with them so you can, it's like a partnership reporting kind of relationship.
And what's what's interesting for most of you all is that as you're at maybe the birthing phase, like most of you say you're in the birthing phase, it gives you an opportunity now to engage and say, you know what, maybe I need to get these ducks in a row. So a couple of things, and remember, I'm only talking about sole proprietorship right now. So some of the language I've used is DBA, okay, doing business as, okay. I've also used EIN, okay. Now, is the EIN free? Absolutely, okay. The EIN is free. All you have to do is request it from the government, okay. That's it. You can request it from the government. And these are some major knowledge centers right here for you. Just dropped you a link there so that you can have it, okay. Now, your business structure, and I want to tell you all from my professional view, your business structure is really built around your exposure and your risk management. Now, if you all don't mind, I'm going to ask Ray a quick question here. Ray, are we set for to conclude at the 20 mark?
Oh, there's so we can have it spanning from 4:30 to 6:15, but the ending of the training is at your discretion whenever you're done with the material.
Okay, very good. I just want to make sure I'm respectful of everyone's time, and I do appreciate you all staying on. I don't intend to run long because I have another meeting after this, and I certainly appreciate you all being so patient. Now, the structure has some variations. Okay, the structure affects how you're going to pay your taxes, your ability to raise funds for your business through investment, and the paperwork that you'll need to file with the IRS and the state and the federal government, all of that. Okay, so your business structure is very important. One of the persons that can help you with your business structure is a professional, is a business law attorney. Okay, so I retain a business law attorney for business formations and things of that nature. I also have done them myself in the past. Another great resource is the Small Business Association, okay? SBA, and I know y'all are just about tired of all these names I'm giving you, but the SBA is another place that you can go that gives phenomenal information for free about business formation and business structuring. How many of you all have heard of the SBA? Very good. Thank you, Apollonia. And Apollonia, did you have a question?
Oh, I was just going to say that I'm actually working with the SBA right now to get funding for my business. So I'm hoping
well
that goes
done.
through.
Well done. Well done. There's a plethora of free opportunities out there. And they have so many resources for free from this government site to help you understand business. And guess what? Little hint, the videos are phenomenal. The videos are phenomenal, okay? They're easy to understand. They take you step by step through things. You're not having 15 or 20 different people on YouTube or something to look at. The videos really work well because they're very professionally done, okay? So I could pour into this slide for a very long time, but I'm going to go ahead and jump over to some pros and cons right now in trying to keep with time, okay? Now, if you look at this slide, it talks about some of the pros and cons of having a particular type of business structure. I'm going to take a breath for a second. This is really important from a summative or a summary standpoint, but what you really need to think of as you start your business is pretty much where you want to go and how you get to where you want to go. And so if you only have the money right now to look at a sole proprietorship or maybe an LLC, then do those two things. Because an accountant, a professional accountant, will tell you that your tax liabilities will be much more higher for partnerships sometimes and corporations. So like a S corporation or a C corporation and that type of thing. Okay. Thank you so much, Apollonia. Apollonia just dropped a real email with a real person here, with the SBA that perhaps they work with. Yes, Satoshi.
Oh yeah, I was just wondering, are you locked into, the business structure that you commit to?
No, you're not locked into a structure at all. That's a great question, Satoshi. You're not locked into a structure at all. Here's the thing. When you try to change structures, you will need to employ, this is my professional advice. You will need to employ an attorney. Okay? You will need to employ an attorney. Okay? And depending on what state you're in, certain states offer benefits and tax breaks to certain types of corporations. So, for instance, and again, this is where a great attorney will come in play. You're living in California, but California's tax code may not be something that is so favorable for the type of business that you want to run. There are some states that have more favorable ones, like Utah, Nevada, and the most famous one is Delaware. Hint, 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 hint. Please go and look at those places in terms of filing your businesses in those locations. They may carry some derivative costs, but it's very well known in the legal community that Delaware is a great place to file to start a business. Yes, Ray.
I was going to tack on one more, and that's Wyoming. Wyoming has some great tax environments.
Yes. Apollonia, please.
What about Washington, the state of Washington, like where Seattle is? I've heard like that's a good place. They have a lot of like grants for small businesses.
They may have grants, but what we're referring to, and thank you very much for sharing that about the grants and the perhaps investment or venture capitalists that may be in that area. What we're referring to mostly is favorable tax conditions. So that's what goes with the business structures that I'm referring to. Is sometimes it's best to open your business in states that have favorable tax structures for businesses.
But does it matter if you don't have to live in the state?
No, ma'am. There's a process called having a registered agent in the state, and you will pay for that registered agent. And this is a legal type of matter that you have to look into. But having a registered agent be in that state when you start your business can create a favorable opportunity for you.
Oh, wow. Thank you. That's good to know.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Are there any other questions surrounding this topic? Excuse me, I did not mean to go that quickly there. So specifically in California, I want you all to look at the difference between a sole proprietor and an LLC, okay? In terms of the taxes, a sole proprietor pays the personal tax only, but an LLC would pay state franchise tax and federal taxes. Again, this slide is not meant to provide legal nor accounting specific information for you as a professional CPA or attorney that is licensed in the state of California could do. It is important that you engage with people that will allow for you to understand the scope of your own personal business in the state of California. And also, nothing that I, nor Ray, nor Malcolm offer is considered to be legal advice, nor medical advice, nor accounting advice according to state and government regulations, okay? So what we're offering you is our suggestions on what you should do with your business and whom you should speak with concerning the avenues of your business. Okay. Is there any questions over this slide? Okay.
This is Andrea. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
I was wondering if you were going to break down perhaps starting a business in San Francisco and what the specific things that you need for registering your business and whatnot.
Okay, that was not a part of the slide deck in terms of our engagement today, but I have no problem answering in general what you would need in terms of registering your business. If it is a sole proprietorship, you will be going to your county clerk in order to file that in terms of DBA. Thank you very much for that, Edith. I appreciate you so much. If it is an LLC or a partnership or a corporation, those filings are done with the state, the Secretary of State. Okay. So you would go to the Secretary of State to file articles of incorporation. Okay.
What about for a sole proprietorship?
A sole proprietor would only need to go to their local county clerk and sit with them and go through the name that you want, and they'll do a name search for you right there in the spot with you, and they may charge you for this, and then you'll pay for opening the DBA right there on the spot. Okay, and they'll give you a sheet of paper that says, okay, this is Andrea doing business as Robert and Rice. Okay, and so then you get that DBA. You can take that DBA to the bank. You can get your EIN from the IRS. You're good to go. Okay. Are there people that don't register with the city? Absolutely. There's plenty of people that don't register with the city and they just do business. Should they do it that way? My recommendation is always to do things the most prudent way if possible. Yes, Ray.
I was gonna say, just be prepared that a common process, and I've registered businesses in Alameda County and San Francisco County. Just be prepared to publish that fictitious business name. So fictitious business name and DBA are like used interchangeably. So you want to be prepared to publish that that name in a local publication. That city or county will have a list of publications you can use, and you have to run it for a certain amount of time to make your fictitious business name or DBA official.
Thank you so much, Ray. And I don't know if Andrea is still in the class. I think she might have got kicked out, and maybe she'll come back in. But that's very important. Now, one of the things about this particular slide here is that excuse me here, 1 second. One of the things about this particular slide here is that there are a lot of links here, okay? And one of the things we'll usually do is try to put the links in for you so that you'll have an opportunity to go to the links and that sort of thing. If you all don't mind, and be gracious with me, I will provide these links for you the next time so that you'll be able to go through them, okay? It gives you a lot of the information you'll need in terms of a resource to get started if you haven't gotten started doing things that way, okay? Now, excuse me here. Okay, so we talked about taxes already, but here's some taxes that you may look to, that you may plan to pay concerning your business. I believe we have someone in the class. Let's see. I think it was Angel that has the cannabis business. Consider having to pay property taxes if you have to have greenhouses or warehouses or something like that. And depending on where the business is located and that sort of thing in California, it depends a lot about the rate that they charge in particular areas. But to run a business is not free of taxation. So there are going to be little taxes here and there. And ultimately, you will be able to pass these along to the consumers or the people you do business with. Okay. Is there any questions concerning what I have said? Any questions whatsoever? And we are at the end of our slides for today. I want to ask a question before we leave. Did you learn something new that you did not know today? And all I would like you to do is, if you learned something new, say yes on the chat, please. If you learned something new, please say yes in the chat. Now, the next question is just as important. Would you like us to revisit this topic for open questions at the start of Monday's class? Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Edith. I asked, would you like us to open a Q&A up on Monday's class so that we can answer more questions concerning this business structure segment? Andrea says she likes specifically for opening a business in San Francisco. Okay. Okay, very good, very good. Thank you all for that feedback. I appreciate you so much. I hope that that you all were able to get something from this today that was beneficial, that will carry you over to do more of your own research. Apollonia, yes.
Yeah, Steve, I had a question. Is this class still open for participants to join the class? Because I had a meeting yesterday with my Renaissance cohort class, and I told them all about the class, and they wanted to like be a part of this class. And so I did send a couple of them your email if you get a couple of emails.
Okay, so here's my best statement to you concerning that. I would say that I'm going to ask Ray, because Ray is the leader, the boss, the one that set all of this up, and I am just a servant. And so, Ray, if you don't mind, could you please answer that question for her?
Actually, I was gonna defer to you and Malcolm, but I'll say that with the caveat of understand that really the goal of this program is to break down into bite-sized pieces, the elements of business, the main distilled elements of business. So I would not have a problem with them joining myself if Steve and Malcolm don't have a problem, as long as they understand that so the top priority is to make sure that you all get what you need as aspiring business owners, current business owners, and trainers. We really want to ramp up the recruitment for trainers because we want to expand this program. But also they need to be open to giving feedback in the next couple of weeks here. So please, when Steve drops interest and personality assessments, and he's asking these questions and he's putting these surveys out there, that's to better inform us how to shape the program for the very first cohort. This is the pilot. This is where we make all our mistakes, not treating you like guinea pigs, but this is where we make all our mistakes. And then we say, okay, well, what did we did wrong? What can we improve on? What do we need to keep? What do we need to take away? What do we need to add? So as long as you give them that caveat, so that's one box, they would need to check. And the last two boxes are Steve and Malcolm. So we hadn't talked about that just yet. I don't want to put Steve on the spot, but I can.
No, I'm fine with being on the spot. In fact, I would say that please tell them to come, and what we'll do is we'll have a discussion about people who are joining later. And again, we're making all of these videos free and available to everybody to see. And so those recordings are on that YouTube channel that Ray so graciously made, free of charge. So even if they don't visit the class in real time, they certainly can go back and look at the videos, because that is what Ray has been fighting for. A resource that's free and available so people can come and get that knowledge and that input. Okay. So if they can make it to the live class, that's great. We know people have busy lives. If people want to come in and ask these questions, that's amazing too, because guess what? Sometimes you learn more by the questions that other people ask. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that, Steve, because I did send them the link to the YouTube channel. So that's awesome. Thank you.
I appreciate you so much, Apollonia. Thank you for being a good steward and spreading the word about the good stuff that's happening. This is the good stuff. And it's being brought to you by people that care more about what happens in your life than what you can do for them. So certainly appreciate each and every one of you. If there's not any other questions at this time, we are going to conclude the class. And we want to make sure that you know that Monday is another class. Ray always does a great job of sending out an email, but Monday's another class. And we look forward to seeing you on Monday for that class. And in that class, we will talk about personal and business finance basics. Okay? Personal and business finance basics. Andrea has a question before I go. Yes. Andrea, go ahead.
Sorry, there was some beautiful gems that were dropped in the messages, and my internet cut out, and so I lost that whole thread. So I was wondering if we're keeping track of the links that get dropped in the messages for the class, just to have like a little documentation.
We absolutely are. Ray has done a great job. Not only does he have the recordings of the video, but Ray has made it possible that the chat is available too. Ray, go ahead, please.
No, you were saying it exactly.
Yeah. So without, I'm telling you all, you have to give people their roses while they're alive. If we've learned anything in this pandemic, you need to give people their roses now. And I'm telling you, this chat being saved is an amazing resource. Okay, an amazing resource. So those things will be available as well. Apollonia, please.
Yes, will we cover more information on digital skills and like social media marketing, like we covered last class?
We can always take those questions as well, but we will have the opportunity to cover more about the business marketing part. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions? Well, thank you all so much for sitting with us tonight. We did go a little bit longer, and forgive me if I was a little long-winded tonight, but absolutely enjoyed each and every one of you. Thank you for your engagement, and you all have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye now.